episode, we will be talking about The Girl in the Glim by India Swift. So, this book is about this girl who just moved to a town.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't tell you the town. Just
Like, it actually
move to a new
doesn't tell
town.
you. She moved to
Anyway, new city, new school.
she moved. She had to leave her friends behind, and so she's struggling to make friends. Both of her parents are therapists, so
That's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
Well, there's a scene in the graphic novel where her parents are like concerned and like trying to go through all these diagnoses and treating her like a patient.
Right.
And then he
Yeah.
was more focused on something else. So the wife was like yelling at him. She goes to school, she gets lost, introduced, and then she gets introduced to her new class, her homeroom class, and then gets picked on by a kid for being short. And then he bullies her. We see a bunch of panels of him being rude to her, and then finally he locks her in a closet, which is so she had to climb out of a window, which led her to this like forest where she found a patch of this guy she hit.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
And she goes walking and seeing if she can find him. She doesn't. She finds a bear with like
Right. She like trips, right? She falls
Yeah,
down
she
like
falls
a
down.
cliff or something. Yeah. Okay.
sees this bear with like 10 eyes. What you find out is just the glums. And then she's in a room, and then suddenly she sees this bright yellow ball, which is a glim, and messes up her whole room.
But
Mhm.
her chasing it with the broom
Yeah.
kind of messes up her
Yeah.
whole room, but
She's scared of it at first and chases
Right.
it around the room with a
And
broom,
catches it.
which somehow her parents never come in.
never come
I
in.
mean, like, what's all the racket?
Now they were
Okay.
therapists, so they could be at work.
That's true.
Because remember, she comes home and the first night, and there is a letter
Yeah,
from her
there's a note,
parents,
there.
so they could be
Right.
at work.
True.
What?
Yeah, there was a note when she gets back from her first day of school,
Mhm.
like saying, "Yeah, we'll be back later." And
Mhm.
So, and it's morning. She has this glim. For some reason, no one can see it.
But her.
Yeah, she's the only
Yeah.
one that can see this glim.
or the glums.
Or the
Well,
glums, yeah. Her parents think she's not okay. Because she is chasing around an invisible thing around the kitchen. And she also takes a photo of it, which it does not photograph, it's just a bright light.
Right.
So this Glim kind of follows her around. She goes to school, and then she starts seeing the glows on people.
Mhm.
Then she is trying to just get rid of the glum on one specific person. So she gives herself detention to try to trap it, and then messes up a classroom, and then she chases it, and that's really where the story ends. She catches it, and then she
Yeah,
puts it in
and
her closet, and the book's over.
kind of, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
her classmate finds the picture she took with the
Yeah.
glim,
Oh yeah,
and
that
she's
thing.
like, "What are you hiding?"
Yeah.
And that's the end.
And then
So
we're like, "Oh,
it kind of ends abruptly.
it does." And it kind of it's really weird because even though it's a volume, it's an actual original graphic novel, these
Mhm.
weren't issues, it feels like it could have been issues.
Yeah.
Especially the way it ends.
Right.
But yeah, it was so what do you think of it?
I really enjoyed it. The whole book, the story, it's most definitely a kid's book.
I mean, yes, I will agree it is definitely towards kids, but I liked it.
Yeah,
I mean, I really did enjoy it.
the coloring, the story, the
Yeah.
most
I did like the
like-
art. Again, the art too was very
mhm.
kiddie.
Like she got picked on in school, that these kids were saying she has an imaginary friend. She finally embraces it and says, "Yep, my imaginary friend will help you get her phone in detention." And then I really just enjoyed the coloring and like how they did the emotions. Like if the parents would be in like all pink backgrounds, then she's just there in the center with a blue around her
Mhm.
while they're arguing over her.
I'm curious of what her parents did for a living, the actual writer,
Mhm.
if they were therapists. I
Right.
mean, it's very clearly it's the glimmer of hope or the glims,
Yeah.
where the glums are the gloomies,
Mhm.
where that they attack themselves to someone, which makes them very depressed and know,
or
moody.
house people, because they feed off of this.
Right.
They grow with more of the
More,
like,
the sadder they get
more
or the
sadder,
madder they get,
like,
the
the
glums grow bigger.
the first Glim we see on a person, she is waiting for a call from the hospital because
Right.
her mom just had a procedure.
Her dad.
Her dad just had a procedure.
I'm pretty sure mom and dad are completely different people. Pretty sure that's not tomato tomato.
Right. And the glums as well, they interact with electronics too.
Yeah.
With their phone, before we even meet either the glims or the glums, everyone's phones aren't working.
Not working.
And then we find out why, because these glums, when they're around, it
Right.
messes up all the electronics.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then we also we did find out that the kid she met has not, no one
Doesn't
knows.
exist.
No one knows.
Right.
Dale.
Dale.
Dale is the
His-
mystery of this
Yeah,
book.
his locker was
Mhm.
empty with just
So,
full of glums.
My theories with Dale is he has something to do with the glums. The glums
He
are
is
the
a
glum.
glum.
Or he's
Maybe he's the glum.
Maybe
the Glim.
glums can-
Because
Sure,
the
sure.
last time we
Sure,
see him,
Yeah.
he's at the locker.
Yeah.
The locker that says Dale, and he's getting his backpack and
grabbing all the stuff
sleeping
and
bag, and
moving.
he's walking into the woods. And then the next time
True.
we see
She
her
finds
in
his
the
patch
woods,
in the woods. On the way to the woods.
right, the glums in the shape of a multi-eyed bear
Mhm.
is attacking her. You see the glum's hands are like wrapping around the glum trying to help her, so you see the pulling him back, and you don't know what it is until we meet the glum, but that's what's trying to protect her. And I'm curious to see if Dale is the Glim somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed this book. It was a great book.
It was it not just for kids. It was really geared towards kids, but it's very geared towards mental health. And we seem to have a big theme with that in all of our books. A lot of our books are about
the
mental
last
health.
like 3 or 4,
Yeah.
like, not even on purpose, but
No, just
Yeah.
we're all about mental health.
I saw
And
this.
this is disguised in a kid's book with
Mhm.
action and like the good guys and the bad guys. But you can tell that the detention scene, when she's fighting the glum, it's basically about helping her and bringing her
Helping
mood back
others.
on, like, seeing what's wrong with her and how she says she's waiting for a phone call. That's why she got in trouble. And it wasn't so much fighting the glum, it was helping her get the phone, which
Right.
would help her mental stability because she was all panicking and anxiety about what was going on with her dad.
Like a glum makes you
Right.
mental
And
health
so
worse, and a glim is
right.
trying to help you.
And so all she did, like physically getting
The
that phone
glums
for
and
her and letting her
antidepressants.
check helped her in mental stability, which then, for some odd reason, she just went, I don't need to do detention anymore, screw this, and leaves.
Well,
Who
no,
are the other girl or
Yeah,
Bridget?
the other girl.
Oh, yeah.
The other girl.
She's like, yeah,
She's like, just tell her something emergency came up and I had to leave.
right.
Well, no, because she's
I
going
like
off.
I understand
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
and-
but she still just ditches
But
the next
my
year.
question is, where was the teacher? Well, there's a bunch of kids, just a couple of kids
Right.
in detention and by themselves.
Right.
And Bridget.
Yeah, and she's like,
Yeah, then Bridget leaves and just tells the teacher, I gotta go.
She had a family
She had a friend
emergency.
working at the lead.
I have one of those too now, so like peace out.
basically, yeah. So the teacher's just like on a coffee break or something.
And then this teacher walks into the classroom and just sees the classroom destroyed because we did learn the glims grow with more the glums grow with more of like anxious.
Yeah,
and-
the more depressed, yeah, that they
The
get.
more-
It's sort of like they feed on.
Yeah. Well, they also want to feed on people.
Right. Well, and I think that's what it is. They feed off the sorrow and anxiety and
Mhm.
of the kids, and probably that's why it's based in elementary school or junior high. Really not sure how old they're.
Junior
I'm
high.
thinking maybe junior high, because they
Elementary
make fun of how
schools don't have lockers.
well, neither do junior highs or high schools anymore, but
Well, most
I see what you're saying. Because they don't actually say what grade, but you just assume the fact that they're making fun of her height and how small she is, that she's in a junior high, middle school,
Mhm.
not so much high school yet, because the other kids there they didn't look like high schoolers. So I'm guessing middle school.
Right.
Mhm.
I related to Bridget in the moving and going to new schools because by the time I was her age, it probably had moved like 3, 4, 5 times or something. Like we were moving all the time when I was younger. So I definitely know what that was like moving around and starting at a new school and all that. So I related to that. I thought it was kind of funny and sad about her parents being therapists and psychoanalyzing everything, and then they were talking about her in third person when she's right there at the table, like, what should we do with Bridget? And yeah,
What's going on? She just walks out.
yeah,
Like,
she just leaves, and they just like don't even
still, like,
notice.
Because I was more focused on a radio.
Yeah, I like the part where she was like, when she imagined herself as like that more confident person, and someone else, like when she was about to approach someone to talk to them,
Right.
she would like imagine she's all
yeah.
cool and like just real, confident and stuff.
Also the coloring.
And the coloring changes, and her hair color changes,
Right.
and it's kind of like this is how she thinks about her, like wants to present herself.
You can definitely tell schools more of like a depressing setting because of how they colored it. It's more like neutral tones. It's more like dark and glim. And then you see her imagination when she's trying to be all cool, the colors change to more bright. Like she's this is what
all those pinks and different colors.
Along those lines, I like the fact that, that's not just kids. I mean, I can even me today, like when I have to ask a waiter for something, I do like in my head going, excuse me, can I please get some more water?
Yeah.
But when it comes out, it's like, so I mean,
no, I agree.
it happens in real life.
I think we all do that.
We run through the scenario in our heads where we're wait, just like when she's being made fun of in class, and she's like, I am short. Yes, you guys are clever. And they're like, oh, she's making fun of herself. But then it comes out in real life, you're like,
right. Yeah, I definitely can relate to that as well, for sure. Yeah.
Now I am sad that it was, like you said, it just ends, because I really did want more.
Yeah.
Which I will end up reading once these come the new one. Then it does say she's working on the series. So
okay.
There's no ETA when it's coming out, but in her biography, it does say that she's working on the Glim series.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because this definitely leaves you with more questions than answers. Like, who's Dale, the patch guy? Why are the Glims and the Glums here?
Right.
Exactly where did they come? We know they came from space. Is there more Glims than just the one? Yeah. And why did they pick her to be the only one that could see them? Like there's there's a lot of questions.
Who's Dale?
Yeah.
I mean, like, Dale, we got a glimpse of. I don't remember. Does Dale show up after we see the meteor hit and split?
Or that's at the very beginning.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like,
no. Once we see the Glims and the Glums, we don't see him anymore.
No, what I'm saying is when the meteor we see come through and split in the black and white,
she sees him right before she sees the bear.
No, she sees him. He's the one on the bike that she.
No, we see him after that in school.
Right, in school. But I'm talking about in the very beginning. Like, was Dale already there, or does we see Dale after we see that? So we see him after. So then it makes her like, is Dale part of this?
He's part of,
right. Is Dale someone from the past who, now that this has happened before, and now he's come back?
Yeah. So there's a lot of questions, and it seems like, and it was like a lot of build up, and then it was a very abrupt end, like we said at the beginning. And it seems like it's going to be maybe multiple books. I don't know if there's one more.
I can't believe there's one more. Well, that's just the thing. And that leads me a lot with liking a story or a book, because this has a ending right now. I love this book, and I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah.
But the next one could ruin it. And it could do the whole Lost thing where it's an amazing story, but then all of a sudden they start giving more questions than they do answer the questions we already had.
Right.
So that's just what she needs to, I'm sure she's listening to this podcast. So she needs to, that's what she needs to be careful about. If you're going to bring more questions in, make sure you're answering some of the other questions.
Exactly.
I just hate when I read series and they just keep piling on, why is this? Why is this? But never answering why.
And then you can't even keep track of anything.
Person with a Glim, then maybe that's an answer question. There's more out there. If they answer what happened to Dale.
Yeah. I mean, if we see Dale and find out what he is.
Where's his parents? why is his parents not concerned he's not come home?
Well, that's the thing.
Well,
We don't
nobody
even
knows
know
it.
Dale.
Yeah.
I mean, like the
And
girl
that might
she
not
asked
even
about the
be-
locker,
That could just be somebody random dude that had that locker before,
right?
and she just happened to see him there.
And his
so
real
it's-
name isn't even
It's
Dale.
not even Dale. Yeah.
Because the girl says, and then that's what like threw me off too. Like, how long have you been to school? So like, that locker hasn't been occupied for a long time.
Right.
Like, what's a long time to a little kid? That can mean that someone was there at
It's
the
like
very
one
beginning,
semester.
or was there
or something.
last year
Yeah.
and then
No,
never
it's
come
been there
back.
for-
Yeah.
So
It's a long time.
as an adult, I'm like,
Yeah.
creepy.
And
It's
what's
been
the
in that locker for
significance of the
years.
patch too?
Right,
We
and the
gotta figure
patch.
that out.
He's a boy scout.
Yeah. There's
Right.
a lot of questions, and yeah, I'm looking forward to finding, seeing what happens next.
Yeah, same here. I mean, it like I said, the next series could ruin the book for it.
Mhm.
A good book to start off with if your kid's getting into graphic novels or starting to read. It's because it's mostly pictures, there's words.
That's why we read comic book mostly too.
Yeah, mostly
I can't
pictures.
read.
Yeah, as we've noticed in the past, when there's like words to read, Josh's like, "Oh, I didn't read that." But she will now.
I thought this book was adorable and funny, but it was also hit on real topics like bullying and mental health. So I think those are important things. Like it's kind of some of those themes are, like you said, popping up in these books we were picking lately. But the writing style was simple but engaging. So I think that really makes it an all ages book for recommend it to anybody who is in the comic books. So yeah, 5 out of 5 for me. I loved it.
That's same.
Is it 10 out of 10?
Well, no, we do 5 stars.
Oh.
5 stars.
If you just did,
If you do stars, it's
Goodreads
5.
or that
If you do
5 stars.
10,
If you go
10, then it's just
the number.
number.
So 5, okay.
Same here. 5 out of 5. I love this book. I loved again how
Not that we're
like
really
the-
doing ratings.
yeah,
but-
reiterate what you were saying. I loved how the topics were very like based on your mental state. I mean, especially for kids, but not saying this is you need to get help. It was using mental illness with glums and glims,
Mhm.
making them little creatures, which then gets the kids into reading it because it's got a little action. It feels like almost like a an action book, but it's also like helping them out a little with the seeing kids having issues, same as they could probably be having.
I don't want to.
Yeah, I love the Glim. He
Yeah, the
was
Glim.
funny. He was like winking at her. He's
Yeah.
like, I don't think you know what that means on Earth.
I
Just
wanna-
like little things like that, and his little hand, his
Yeah,
little like
his little stringy
his little stringy hand. It's like, and he didn't even
he
speak
didn't have
the whole
fingers. It doesn't
time.
speak. Doesn't
He
have
didn't-
fingers.
yeah,
He
just
has
his,
like the
his
little
facial
tentacles that come
expressions
out.
and his little tentacles.
Yep.
And it was, yeah, I loved it.
The art, I love the art. It was very engaging. I didn't
Yeah.
find it. It's something that was nice that kids will get into, especially the style. The style was very. You can tell she's a Nickelodeon writer. You can tell she's done things for the Turtles and more kid stuff. Because the art is very kiddish, but it's not too kiddish. So I was like the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie coming out. I'm gonna see it, but the art just looks so
Yeah.
childish to me, like it's a kids' TV show. It was good enough to where I was still engaged. The use of colors were amazing to set the mood and the mental state. And, I mean, just like you guys were saying before, with the parts where she's trying to, get the courage up, and this is what I'm going to do. It's all pink and bright, and hey, they're all going to love me. And then when she does it in real life, it's all like a muted blue, and she's like, oh. So I would recommend again, all ages. I enjoyed it. I can't wait to read the next one, and this was a good choice. Good little find you had.
Yeah, excellent.
I read this book 3 times because I was really wanting to read it to
Well-
get everything. I'm like, I now know the story. I want to look more in the background with colors. I want to see how it's set up. Like, it was a great book.
Well, that's a nice thing. It was a short book. It wasn't like a lot of dialogue.
It took me 20
Which,
minutes.
right.
Yeah,
So,
it's a quick read.
I was able to read this in like 10 minutes from front to back, and then I read it again today. Did some research on it. So
Yeah,
nice.
good choice.
Yeah. So
Good,
we recommend listeners go read this book. It was
It's great. You can find
a good book. Yep, it's available on Hoopla
or wherever fine books
or
are
whatever
sold.
fine books.
Wherever that is these days.